Hello, welcome to the first review of this channel. Not that anyone really cares about this game anymore. Really quick about my style of reviewing. I don't intend to be this objective voice of reason in the gaming community. Rather, my reviews are entirely subjective. I talk about things that I like, things that I find important, or just things that catch my attention, personally. Another really important note is that I evaluate a game based on the vision or goal of the developer. So that means I won't judge a Mario game on its grand narrative, deep characters, and branching storylines. You basically put a mirror in front of the developers and you force them to confront their own. Finally, I would also like to add that I admire video games and video game production a lot. So when you delve deeper into video game production, you kind of realize how complex these projects actually are. So much so that you actually think it's a miracle that these games are even being made, or finished for that matter. What this means when I review a game is that sometimes I might delve into the production side of things. I might try to dwell on a certain new technology developers used, or a new game mechanic that was invented for this specific game. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the review. Hey, that rhymed. Section number 1 is about the presentation of this game. At times, this game is absolutely gorgeous to look at. There are moments when the camera zooms out and you get a whole panoramic view of the entire level. Also, in many environments and level sections, there's always something dynamic and interesting happening. The developers did a good job of always switching things up and always having a nice visual flair to what you're actually looking at. Story beats are presented by pre-rendered cutscenes that serve their purpose more than enough. They serve to show progression and add the emotional beat of the whole narrative, basically. However, in terms of presentation, what really got under my skin was the voice acting and the sound design. A lot of people thought the voice acting was cute and unique, but to me it was just whiny and useless, like your mother right after I porked her. What the hell is this? Not to mention the audio. At certain points, especially during cutscenes and dialogue, some characters are just inaudible. You just can't hear them.
Sorry, boss.
What?
It's a miracle.
I can't hear you. What?
Has made it even this far.
Well, what do you say? I can't hear
You
you.
had left.
What? And they also talk in a really slow way that kind of just really drags the story down and is unnecessary. And yeah, what the f***? So, about the story now. So, what is Soulstorm exactly? Is it a prequel? Is it a sequel? Is it a reimagination? I haven't played the previous game, so I don't really give a f***. I have to say, friends, I was not prepared for the quality of the story. Ape's quest to save his people from slavery definitely resonated with me. The story is simple, but it is executed extremely well. Ape is a sympathetic and likable underdog character that gets thrusted on this quest to save his people. The Budokans are mostly also likable and funny as well, especially during certain gameplay sections.
I could go for a sandwich right now.
Well, we gotta get out of here. Come on, let's get out.
The villains are a bit underdeveloped, but they serve their purpose more symbolically if anything. They are very much a caricature and satire on people like this and this. And because of that, you really want to take them down. What I also really liked was the lore and history behind Ape's species. There is a mysticism and spirituality tied to their kind. This absolutely kept me intrigued and made me want to know more about their history. But now, perhaps the biggest reason I liked the story so much was how inextricably linked it was to the gameplay sections. There are 4 endings, each with their own unique outcome. The endings are dictated based on how many Budokans you save, on how many enemies you kill, and consequently how much karma you acquire in each level. This is a slight spoiler, but if you save at least 80% of all the Budokans in every level, you get the good ending. However, if you save all the Budokans in every level, you also get the final ending. This makes certain sections in the game that much more appealing and that much more nerve-wracking. In a good way. Section number 3, the gameplay. According to the most reliable information source on the internet, Wikipedia, Oddworld Soulstorm is a 2.5 big side-scrolling platform game. But that's vastly underselling it. The reason why I wanted to make this review in the first place is because the gameplay is just fine. So the game is a 2.5D platform game that incorporates puzzles, combat, and crafting. These systems are implemented so extremely well that it feels so frictionless and seamless. Let me explain why. First of all, the puzzles don't even look like puzzles. They seem like obstacles you just have to overcome. The puzzles are designed so organically, you're never aware of the fact that you're doing a puzzle. Effectively, what this means is that while you're playing, you're actually never realizing you're doing a puzzle. It's never so black and white when a puzzle section starts and when it ends. This is very much unlike a game such as Portal 2, where puzzles are very clearly marked from one to the other. I'm not saying a format for puzzles such as Portal 2 is wrong, but for me personally, when I realized I was doing a puzzle, I just turned into a retard. I was always overthinking things, trying to come up with some complex solution to a very obvious problem. Oddworld Soulstorm does this really well. They don't shove it down your throat that you're actually doing a puzzle, that you have to be smart. Second, let's talk about the combat. I think the combat fits thematically so well with the characters and the story of the Mudokons. You, the player, Abe, actually never actively holds a gun himself or yourself. You use your surroundings, your crafting tools, your big brain to overcome challenges and defeat foes. One way the combat is so thematically intertwined with the story, for example, you can also have your soul leave your body, take over your enemy's body, and make them do things to each other. This segues nicely to my next point, which is the crafting. You can pick up items from trash cans, lockers, and enemies. These items help you traverse the environment and defeat your enemies. What I loved about the crafting system in conjunction with the combat is that it never punishes you for being creative. Your simple goal is to advance the terrain, defeat your enemies, however you see fit. Just do your thing. Nothing is wrong. Whenever I cleared a section, it always felt like I came up with a solution that was not predetermined by the developers. These moment-to-moment gameplay experiences highlight Oddworld Soulstorm at its best. In the truest sense, Oddworld Soulstorm is a well-designed game, and I don't think it's talked enough about by other outlets such as IGN. In fact, when I read things like this, I'm like, bro, did you even try? Speaking of trying, let's talk about difficulty. Fuck, this game is hard. I played our normal difficulty and I died at probably like 500 times. Certain sections were incredibly difficult and required flexibility and ingenuity to beat them. That is all the good about the game. Now about the bad. There were also a considerable amount of times that I died due to bugs and inconsistencies in the gameplay. Numerous times I fell through geometry for no reason. There were times where I thought enemies' paths were blocked due to obstacles, and it wasn't. They phased right through. There was one section with rockets where I got hit like 1,000,000 times by the rocket, nothing happened, and then I got close and suddenly I got hit and I had to start over. Also, I absolutely despise the goddamn mines. Here's the thing, yeah? You have to walk very slowly over to them, and if you move like even a millimeter, it's gonna cut off your hoofd. But then, to deactivate them, you have to press the light when it's green. But in the beginning, it's impossible to gauge how fast you have to do this. So yeah, you just can't do it until you figure out, oh, I have to press it 1 frame before it turns green, then you're fine. I think during my gameplay, I had to restart a checkpoint once or twice due to bugs. Luckily, the checkpoint system is abundant and I only lost a few seconds of progress. And like I mentioned, some other bugs that were really frustrating where your enemies just phase through an obstacle that you set up before. These bugs were numerous enough to definitely call the developers out, especially if you buy it for full price on the Epic Games Store as I did. My final rating for Oddworld Soulstorm is an 8 out of 10. Maybe. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. That was the first review of this channel. I'd like to apologize for having to wait so long for another video. I had some technical difficulties. I had to film this video for like, I don't know, 6 times at this point. I also just want to say, if you found value in this video and you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you guys the next time. Hopefully much sooner this time. Bye.